everyone. I hope you can all hear us. Use the reaction button to give a thumbs up to at least we know that you guys can hear us. Perfect. So welcome everyone. We're gonna get started. Before we begin, I was also thinking that can you type in the chat where you are joining from and one word that describes how you are feeling today? And as I mentioned in my LinkedIn post, which you might have seen, through which you get registered, it's not a polished advice today. It's about real lived experiences in the interest and the spirit of helping and supporting each other, especially the younger generation and the students. And we have got three amazing young women who started this journey. They were in your shoes before, with dreams, doubts, and decision to make. So I will go on my right first. We have Kirtana, we have Ria, and we have Shivani. So I would like to start at the beginning, and obviously all three of you are not born and brought up here. You're first generation immigrant. So what brought you to UK and what were your biggest fears or surprises? And maybe Kirtana, we go with you first.
Okay. Hi everyone. It's so nice to be on this call. Thank you, Jit and Harry, for hosting this. To answer your question, so what brought me to the UK? Honestly, I don't know. There was just a flip of the switch, and something told me that I needed a change, and that change had to lead me to growth in a way. And one of the options that seemed very enticing at the time was doing a master's in the UK. And since I was already working in cyber, I decided to do a master's in cyber. Fears, obviously, it's a new country. I've never moved from one country to another before. But the fear was, would I actually get bored of myself? Because moving countries meant I had to be with myself a lot more. But surprising fact is I actually love my own company. I don't need anyone else. So yeah, that's the fear and the surprise I had.
Maybe one thing we should have said, just give a very quick round of introduction about yourself, Ms. where you come from and everything else, and for everybody when you give the first answer. So maybe.
Okay, sure, yeah. I'm Kirtana and I am from Bangalore, India. And in terms of experience, I did my bachelor's in computer science, and I went on to do an internship in KPMG, and I was part of KPMG India in Bangalore. And I worked there for 3 years with an amazing team, and I made amazing friends. And it's after the 3 years that I decided that I just wanted to seek more knowledge, and that's what brought me to the UK. And so that's about me.
And Ria, maybe next one for you. So what brought you to UK?
Hi everyone, my name is Ria and I am currently working in the Nordic CISO team, which also falls under the NSC CISO team.
At Deloitte, you should mention that. Not many people know, right?
Yes. And before moving to UK, I was back in India. This is actually my second master's that I did from UK. Apart from that, I also worked at EY and as a cybersecurity consultant. So I had a little bit of experience in India, not as much as both of these women sitting here. But yes, I worked 1.5 years in EY and then moved here. So can we go again the question?
Yes. So I was can you recall a moment when you felt I don't belong, and what helped you through that?
I don't think that I ever felt that I don't belong here, because I was very strong-headed about moving to UK, and I always felt that I belonged here because one, I always liked the Western culture, and not like I traveled abroad as a child, but just, I don't know, just maybe watching The Crown on Netflix, it just felt like, yeah, it's a nice place to be in and a place where I would want to study. So I did not feel that, but yes, when I was studying here and I was looking for jobs, and with all the rejections that I was getting, of course, that maybe made me think that maybe I don't belong here, or maybe I am not good enough. That doubt, of course, comes in. But then, yeah, I think that was one of the times when I thought that I don't belong here, even though when I was coming from India, I was full of confidence. But there was a point when I started losing confidence. And then
I remember meeting that confident Ria when I think we met when I came to Warwick University for the guest lecture
yes,
at that time. So meeting you in the morning when we had a coffee, and pretty confident person that time. So definitely. Shivani, maybe coming to you again, a bit of background about yourself, but main thing is what made you come and to UK and decide to come to UK, and maybe some of those dreams, doubts, and fears.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. My name is Shivani. I am originally from Mumbai in India. I have a bachelor's in electronics and telecommunications and a diploma in electronics engineering. So it was a bit surprising when I first came across cybersecurity as a subject in my bachelor's. And I was completely blown away with what this field is. And that was the time when COVID hit. So I started studying about cybersecurity using different e-learning platforms, which is what drove me to my very first job, which was in KPMG. And I absolutely love this field. But like I said, my bachelor's was in electronics and telecom, diploma in electronics. There was no grounds for me to say that I am the right person to be in cybersecurity. And I love cybersecurity. So I decided that I want to do a master's, and I wasn't going to come to the UK actually. I was going to go to the US, but then I saw about University of Warwick and I loved the course, so I decided to come to UK, did my masters, which is why I am in the UK to do my masters in cybersecurity, and also mostly hoping that I could have a better future for myself, for my family, and people around me. And the biggest fear I think I had in that situation when I was first coming to the UK was I think the financial burden, because I have seen so many people being taken down by such a huge amount of loans and everything. So, and then there was this uncertainty of whether I would get a job or not. Yep. So I think that was one of my fears. But I think my dreams and my aspirations to have a better future was so much more stronger, which is why I'm here today.
Yeah. So now we have learned a bit about you, all of you. Maybe just quick also now, obviously, all of you are working. Give a quick introduction about the current role that you're doing, because all three of you are in a complete different field and doing different things. So maybe Ria first.
Yeah, so I currently work in the GRC space, compliance and risk, as part of the CISO team. So I'm a part of NSE, which is headed by Jit. And yes, I report to the Nordic CISO, who also sits in Norway, and I'm based out of Oslo. So I actually moved all the way from UK to Norway, which is obviously stepping out of my comfort zone because I have all my friends here, my family here. But yeah, I had to leave everything and go behind my dreams. So that's my current role. And just to give a heads up to all of you here, I do not come from a computer science or engineering background, and I'm somebody who's into cyber without being an engineer or a coder. So yeah, that's about me.
Fantastic. You know, one interesting thing is, I remember when we were having conversation, and she was a bit apprehensive about moving to Oslo and everything. And I said one thing, that Christine, who's our Nordic CISO, I personally think she's one of the amazing leaders. Yes. Such a talented leader that we have, and I'm very privileged to have her in my team. And said, go and work for the right leader, because that will make a big difference in your career. I hope. Yes,
100%.
Okay, so Ketan.
Yes, I also work for Deloitte. I am working in the so my role basically is cyber strategy and transformation. I work under cyber transformation management under that team, and it's quite interesting because I need to switch on my strategic brain quite a lot, and my technical background actually helps me be a couple of steps ahead in that process, because well, my experience in KPMG was very technical, and now I'm in a transformational role, and I do get to balance both in a very nice way, which I really enjoy. So that's a little bit about my role. And a fun fact, Jit, actually, between the three of us, when we were friends, we always used to discuss what kind of roles we wanted and what we wanted to do, when we get a job. And funnily enough, it all kind of aligned. And when Shivani talks about her role, you'll understand. Like, I really like being a consultant because I yap a lot and it helps. So I'm
We didn't say that.
You weren't fun.
But yeah, so in a way, I really like stakeholder management, people management, and yeah, I'm currently enjoying my role a lot.
Good. Shivani,
Yep.
you do something very different. So
Yeah. Oh, and I love doing it. So I'm an automated cyber attack engineer. What that means is basically my team helps the member firms of Deloitte. So I work in the internal teams of Deloitte, exclusively for Deloitte and its member firms. And what my team does is it helps the different member firms automate certain attacks that sometimes the red team may or may not be doing. So we help them assist, do the work of red team, but in an automated way. And it's so much fun. Most of my work is technical. We deal with MITRE's framework, and a lot of other, I would say, Threat Connect and stuff like that.
you work in a global red team. That's the cool thing because
Yeah,
you have
it is
the
a
reality
pretty
is
cool
you don't.
thing.
When I met you, there are not many people, not
Yeah.
many females we find in red team, and
Mhm.
I was very excited when I saw you're somebody who's technical, wants to pursue a career in that. Fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's about. So while we are going along, I think I just want you to also see Q&A functionality. So please use the Q&A functionality to ask any questions. We will take them in the end. We will take as much as time as needed. We will answer all your questions, but also keep using the reaction button. If you hear something and just want to give a reaction, keep doing that. So let's talk about struggles, because I think that's very consistent, because at least I know I have seen all your journey, and obviously there were times which were hard. So I think this is very important. A lot of people I know in the current job market are going through struggles. So let's talk about the hard part, which are not talked about in the brochures, right? So what were some of the unspoken struggles? Now, there are three things I remember we very, very clearly: financially, mentally, and emotionally, that you went through. And maybe Shivani, will start with you this time.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of struggle, I think one that I mentioned very clearly was about the finances. But it's not just about the loans part, it's also about sometimes we don't consider what is the cost of actually living in the UK, especially if you don't have a part-time. So in my case, I wasn't working any part-times. So that was really difficult. I was solely dependent on the savings that I had got from India. And so that was a big struggle, I would say, and a huge source of stress, because I knew that I couldn't spend more than an X amount. So financial was the biggest struggle. And then there comes the mental strain that you have, that along with studying for your masters, you also have to make sure that you're doing your applications for the jobs, and then deal with the fact that they're going to maybe reject you. And you also have to be ready that you might not know the valid reason, because not everyone is going to be giving you a justification. So you have to deal with that. So yeah, I think those are.
Did you know this before when you went through the job application process, that how many you don't get the feedback, clear feedback, you can see the rejection?
Sadly, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So this is like a huge shocker when you come here and start applying. You think, oh, they're going to reach out to you, tell you what's wrong, or maybe at least tell you that you're rejected. Sometimes my friend used this term, they just scene zone you, and then then you don't understand what happened, and then you start doubting yourself. So these were some of the biggest struggles that was not just me, but I think a lot of the students who came to the UK faced.
Yeah. So maybe what was your experience like? Because I know.
Yeah, I think I was more struggling emotionally and mentally than financially, because what I did was, when I moved to UK, I contacted a lot of seniors who were a part of the cybersecurity cohort. And one of them, who now works in KPMG, I guess, she had a part-time on campus. So I always had part-time from day one. And I would, roughly make good enough amount to to help myself eat food and pay my bills and everything. And of course, my accommodation was paid for. So I would not say that I struggled financially too much, but yes, mentally and emotionally, of course, because I had very less amount of experience, which I think is something that a student should consider before moving to UK. And the amount of rejections I would get, because I did not start applying to experienced role at once. I was going through the graduate route. And Shivani is absolutely right in saying that companies scene zone you or ghost you because you don't know where your CV is, what stage are you at, or who are you competing with, and your CVs just get lost. So you never get a reply apart from an automated email that you are now rejected. So you don't really know the rejection reason. So it's quite mentally draining because you're managing part-time, you're managing your project submissions, your assignments, your exams, and you're also thinking about getting a job. I remember I used to sit until 2 in the night giving those graduate programs exams and draining myself to record myself in an interview. And what came to me as a shocker was the recorded interviews that UK does, because I never did that in India. And seeing yourself in the camera and talking, you just forget half of the things that you were saying.
It's quite nerve-wracking.
Yes, it is. And I think the only thing that I did then was I practiced in front of the mirror because I could not see myself and talk. I would just forget. So I practiced for hours and hours, but not like I made it to any graduate program. But I did that. And I think it now gives me a lot of confidence to talk while I'm in a Teams meeting.
Interesting enough, I tell you, there's a top tip I give to people who I mentor that I personally think camera is one of the very useful application on your laptop. So you'll be surprised when I went through my partner promotion in Deloitte, I had to give a presentation and I had to, in that time, a lot of things are now hybrid. So I recorded myself 8 times. It's very nerve-wracking when you do it for the first time and watching your own recording, you realize I was not clear. My voice pitch was bad. I was not looking in the camera and everything else. So I tell a lot of people, if you're going for a promotion, you're going for the interview, you're doing in hybrid, even your elevator pitch, talk to yourself, do use in camera because you learn so much going through that process. It really kind of sharpens your pitch when you do that. Okay, so maybe Kitana, for you, it's the same question.
With me, Jit, it all came in phases. I had a beautiful blend of all 3 struggles. I must say, looking
She's
back.
like a consultant,
Looking back now, so I also come from a very humble family, so I couldn't really turn to my parents for the entire funding of my education. So most of my savings went into doing my master's, which meant and Warwick is a very reputed institution, which meant I will be spending quite a lot on that university. And if you're making such a bold choice, you should come prepared because it's not just the tuition you're paying for. You take care of your living situation, your groceries, you take care of literally everything, your toiletries, right?
Everything adds up.
Everything adds up. And nobody can actually give you the estimate. It's a very subjective figure. So in my case, I had to work 2 part-times just to make up. I could have done just one, but I was very conscious of whether I will run out of money, and I didn't have any financial backing, and I was my financial backing, so I had to work 2 part-times while I was studying. And that did not come easy because half the time when I'm working in my part-time, it's obviously not related to cyber, right? So my mind is like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this job? I should be probably working in a company where I can put my cyber skills to use. But so that's where the doubt creeps in. It says, did you make the right choice? Are you doing okay? And after that comes the emotional and the mental turmoil. So a lot of times you start questioning yourself. Every shift I took at my part-time, I used to just hope and pray that, I go back to my room to an email that says, hey, I want to give you a shot. How about that? And the struggle is very real, and you should really be your own cheerleader at that point, because nothing anybody says is going to make you feel better. I, at one point, remember just getting so furious at my family, but they had nothing to do with it, right? It was my choice. So I then took a step back and I was like, you can do this. Just confronting yourself and really talking to people. I think we'll come to that very soon, but that was my struggles. Yeah.
So, Shivani, I'm going to ask you this question because I know you maintain an Excel sheet about your how many applications you applied, rejections. So, how many rejections you got? How did you deal with rejection, pressure, and just going through the application process? Because it's a very difficult feeling. Keep applying for the jobs and keep getting rejections. So, just to get insight.
Yeah. So like Jit mentioned, I did have an Excel sheet. I don't look at it anymore, but I have it.
But keep it with you.
Yeah,
Because these
it's a
things,
reminder.
yeah, exactly.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
But I had like I think it was roughly 100 applications that I made, and I think 98% of them were just we are not interested in this role, or we can't take you on, or whatever. Just an automated rejection email, and that really puts you into self-doubt. It really makes you question your choices, like Ketana mentioned. It just makes you realize, oh, you're maybe not good enough. I mean, so many companies rejecting you is probably you don't deserve to be here, like Ria also mentioned earlier. So the way I dealt with it is my initial reaction was to just, stay with myself, just, do not discuss it with anyone, just be by myself. And that was not the right reaction. I later understood that. And then the correct way that I dealt with it was, I started speaking about it to the people that were closest to me, like my family, my friends. And although that doesn't completely take you out of that negative thinking, it at least helps you understand that all the things that you have taken, like all the decisions that you have taken, they're not all wrong. You just have to keep working on them. You have to keep taking every challenge one at a time. Because if I keep looking at all the rejections at the same time, they just made me more nervous and more angry and sad about it. So I decided to deal with problems just one at a time. So, like just look at project or dissertation as that, and then maybe look at application of jobs just as that. And that I think reduced a little bit of my burden, like the emotional burden, I would say. And I think, yeah, that was the way to go for me.
Thanks. Same rejections.
Rejections. I wouldn't say that I kept a track of rejections, because I knew the more track I keep of it, the more demotivated I'm going to feel. It's better to forget it in my mind so that I can move forward,
Right.
because there are brighter things to look at and not just sulk about a rejection. So I am not, I was never of that mindset that if I get rejected, I will feel sad. I would just pick myself up and start preparing for the next interview and just forget about that. But yes, there was a point when I was absolutely clueless about where I'm heading or where my life is headed, when I was closer to submitting my dissertation and I was looking for jobs and stuff like that. Because after that, uni was over and now graduate positions were gone.
Yeah.
And now the only choice was experienced roles. And of course, when it comes to experienced roles, there's a lot of sponsorship that's involved. There's a lot of experienced people that you're competing with. And I was always in the last. So, so of course it was very toll taking. But I did not get, I don't know, I never got sad with a rejection, or I never sulked about it. I just moved on.
Was there they're going through all this, obviously talk about rejection, but was there any breaking point because I know it can take a toll when you get so many rejections, and what helped you keep going?
So in my case, what happened was, because I came with almost 3 years of experience, I was very adamant that I wanted a skilled and experienced role. And that was simply because I felt like I could offer more. And I already knew the cyber industry and I know what I want to do. So that did work to my benefit as well as a consequence later on, because I did lose out on all the experiences in the interviews that I could have got in the graduate roles. But I don't regret making that choice, because I'm here because of that choice. But the breaking point was, in my entire journey, what helped me most was networking, right? So I started talking to, so like how she maintained an Excel of rejections, I had an Excel of people I had contacted. And the number of people I had spoken to, my social battery would drain to zero every day before I slept because I kept talking to people. I kept putting my case like a sales pitch out there every day. I think in a day I took at least 4 to 5 calls, and I sometimes I would forget who I just spoke to because that's how many people I spoke to. And the breaking point was, even after talking to all these people, all I got was empathy. That's all. Like, I didn't get a push or like, let me see. I mean, some people obviously got back to me, but there was a point, and I think Jit remembers this. That was probably my breaking point. I used to go to a lot of these community events because I thought networking was my way forward, and that would also be my advice to you. So I was at a networking event, and thankfully Jit was there. And I had been speaking with Jit for a while because he's a great mentor. And so it was just a casual conversation, but he noticed that I was low. Like, I was at a very low point in my life. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh God, I need to go to the bathroom to cry now." But honestly speaking, that was my breaking point, because I told him that I've spoken to so many people, and I know this is what I'm worth, but suddenly I feel like that I might be wrong. And but then obviously he helped me kind of stir through that phase of my life. And
I remember that walk.
yes, we walked to the railway station from that event, and there was a lot said in that silence that we had, and it was really a turning point for me because I was done talking to people and not getting what I was expecting out of them. So I think that was my breaking point. Yeah.
Right. We all need, sometimes, we need to get to that breaking point to get the best out of so,
Absolutely.
but we need all of us need help from time to time.
Yep.
So now let's talk about that phase, that transition, when you moved from the student, the person who's looking for a job, to actually becoming a professional. And so what was, if you talked about networking already, but just one by one, what strategies actually worked? Whether networking, mentors, project mindset, what is it? If you have to advise to the other students who are listening and others who may listen to the recording, that what would you give the advice in terms of what could work, or what based on what you work for you? So maybe Ria, we go with you first.
I think having a mentor is very important. That one person who checks on you, who guides you, who tells you how the market works. You really need somebody to guide you. But I know it's very hard to find that someone, because not everybody is like you, Jit, who would respond. Or
It's not about me.
no, of course. I mean, I need to give that to you, because maybe all of us are here because you have some contribution to that, because you pushed us to be something. But people need to find right mentors. And of course, people like you in the industry should sign up to be mentors. People who are at a higher post or at a higher designation should sign up to be mentors, because sometimes people don't realize that people with no experience or little experience can also be given a chance to shine. So, but if they're not given a chance, and if only talent is bought from the market, then there is no new mindset, or there is no new ideas that will come in.
Sure.
So that's very important for leaders to understand. And as students, we should also understand that it's very important to come out of your comfort zone. That's my advice to everybody. I understand some people might have issues presenting, but then maybe go to take classes where you can learn how to present. There are some people who might just not feel like talking in front of 10 people. Then maybe just go and sit in a social club and talk to people. Just come out of your comfort zone, because that's what I did for myself. That will be my advice, because in order to break into this market, you really need to be confident, you really need to be smart, you really need to know how to talk, and you really need to know how to present yourself.
And you need to have your elevator pitch ready, because you never know when that moment comes. And that's why I keep telling people, have your elevator pitch, which you can deliver consistently. And that's where the camera app comes in handy. Because if after this call, do me a favor, record yourself on that camera app and do your elevator pitch, which has to be within 120 seconds. And then raw watch it. You will understand what I mean in terms of it requires work even to have that ready.
I agree.
So we Kirtana, next thing.
Yeah, whatever you just said, I completely concur with that, because with every phone call I made, I understood how, like, my introduction used to get shortened with every phone call. Like, I kept strategizing how I can pitch myself better, tell people what is it that I bring to the table. And it was a strategy game from the beginning, right? So everything had a role to play in this. So I made sure that I mentioned the dissertation I did at my university, because that counts. That is experience. Nobody can talk you out of that. So I made sure I picked a topic that I could say is challenging enough for this current industry and the current market. So like Jit said, you're not just making your elevator pitch, but make it so good that no one can turn away from it, right? So make your choices, make the tough choices in the beginning, so that your elevator pitch sounds like you bring really great ideas to the table. So um, I think my number one strategy, as mentioned before, is networking. I spoke to a lot of people. I reached out. My LinkedIn messages were so chaotic, and it was very sad at the same time, because a lot of people, as I understand, I reached out to like leaders. Like, who am I to reach out to a CISO, right? But look, I'm sitting with Jit right here, and he understands. So out of 100 people who I reached out, there were 5 people who understood, and they actually took the time out to put in a call on a weekend if they're busy on the weekday, right? So like Ria said, get out of your comfort zone, take that phone call, pick up your phone and make that phone call. And it really does matter, because it's you who has to take that first step, and someone else can show you what the second step is. So that's my strategy.
We have some questions are coming in the Q&A, so we're going to pick up some of them after you have gone through, but please keep bringing the questions. If they're coming to your mind, just keep putting there. So.
Okay. So the question was about networking, right?
No, I was basically it was strategy that worked for you.
Okay. So with both of what they said, Kirtan and Ria, I completely agree with both of you completely that networking is important. But one thing about me, I'm a completely introverted person. Right now, I have to really tell myself that no, this is for the betterment of for the people who are going to come to the UK for me to talk. So it was not easy for me to start.
It's not easy
talking.
to get her to come to office also.
Yeah. It's a remote job in my defense. So but anyway, so the reason I'm saying I agree with these guys is because it's very important for me also to get out of that comfort zone, and that happened for me when I believe Ria, you organized this guest meetup, and you were there to give that talk. And I don't speak in huge crowds, but that day when I was going for this talk, I had made up my mind that no matter what, I am going to speak one sentence, and that one sentence is why I'm sitting here today. Because I remember that you had asked about what's your passion and what you want to do, and I just raised my hand and said, "Oh, I want to be in Red Team," and that got the conversation.
And I was
started.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
You have one thing who wants to be a Red Teamer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was so happy with the reaction you gave. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to tell you why I want to be in the Red Team. So I spoke up, and that was the one time I spoke up. And then later on, I went back to my room, and I was so happy that I had spoken to you. But then that's where the networking part comes in. I reached out to Jit on LinkedIn, but I did not reach out with the point of view that, oh, I want a job, that he's a potential employer. I just reached out with the genuine interest and genuine admiration for the way he was speaking about his employees. And that was my first message to Jit, saying, oh, I really admire the way you spoke about your employees, the way you said that you have confidence in your employees, which is why you can stand here today giving us a talk. And I was really blown away with the way that the leaders spoke about their employees. And that was my first way of networking. So I think one thing to remember when we network, and that is something that I still hold true to my heart, is don't reach out to a person just because he's a potential employer. Actually reach out to him because you are passionate about that field, or you're passionate about what that person is doing. Try to find an interest that you both have in common, and then maybe something better will come out of it, and you might end up having a job. But yeah, when you go into networking, try not to look at them as just an opportunity. Look at them as a human being who also has an interest, just like yours.
I still reach out to some people and I follow their work. They inspire me to build a genuine connection. Basically reaching out to saying, and you will be surprised. You may think Jit is a partner, CISO. People ghost me too.
Oh,
It does. It happens because I again I don't take it
Worst
to heart
choice.
because sometimes it's because people are not paying attention because they're getting spam or whatever.
yeah.
But the point is, if you admire somebody, if you follow someone's work and you think, I could learn something from that person, really build a genuine connection, then if you will not reach out, it will not happen. What's the worst could happen?
Yeah.
You not get ghosted, but if so it works out, you may never know. You may form a connection for life. So can you share one thing that changed the game for you?
Yeah.
Yes, you first.
Change the game for me. I think it was stepping outside my comfort zone in the right time. So and also being able to kind of talk myself out of just staying on the ground and just walking again. Like every time you face a rejection, it's not the end of the world. You need to, like I said before, be your own cheerleader. So I think for me, what changed the game is my mindset in every phase of this journey. It's how and also everybody I spoke to and every word that everybody's thoughts that I consumed, it really helped me form a very strong personality. Even through that journey, I was growing without even knowing about it. So that's what is the game changer. My mindset was the game changer in this entire journey.
It's all mind game. This is and this will help in every aspect of life that you go through. So, good stuff.
I guess this can be very interesting, but it's a story when I was looking for jobs. So when I finished my dissertation, you remember, Shivani, I was very excited because I was joining a startup. And I was very excited to go home, meet my family, because I knew that I had a job and everything. So I went back to India and I was supposed to come back in October to start my new role. And by then, I guess, Shivani, you had a job and you were still looking. So I came back from India 14th of October and I was going to start 15th. I went to the client office the first day and I was very happy, very excited, full of energy. And then the game changer point was the very next day I lost my job. So that came as a surprise. Of course, it was a new company and they were struggling and all of that. But the next day I was just informed that they could not continue with my employment. So I wouldn't say that I broke down because I was just a little confused about what happened because I never got an opportunity to perform.
Yes.
It was not like I was laid off or something. It was just that I was not given a chance.
Yeah.
And to prove my potential, and I completely understand that. That's okay. I mean, the company was struggling and everything, that's fine. But that came to me as a shocker when I was very early in my career. Like, I just had 1.5 years of experience, and it was my first job in a foreign country. And I just moved to London with that confidence that I have a job a week back with my contracts and everything sorted, and I had a rent to pay, and which was due next week. And this week I realized that I don't have a job, which means I won't get any salary. And I didn't have any part-time because I was working part-time in university, so I didn't have any part-time experience as in a coffee shop or in a restaurant or something that people would take me in. So so that was the game changing point for me, and that was yeah, I mean, I think my mind got conditioned very, very differently after that day because, and I'm very thankful that this happened to me because if that had not happened to me, I wouldn't have been here. So everything has a reason, and it came as a surprise, but it taught me a lot. It gave me so much strength to get back up from where I was, and 3 months of being unemployed and then landing this role, a lot changed in that 3 months, and it just made me more and more grateful.
Like, you know what? Interesting thing. I remember telling you that time. Everything happens for a reason. We can't see it right now, but maybe something is better
Yes.
coming up.
Yes.
And at that time, we didn't have a right opportunity. And you always said, Jit, one day I'm going to work for you.
Yes.
And out of all these three, you are not working with my team. So it happens, right? These things happens for a reason. Sometimes we can't see it, but it's these experiences, these challenges shapes up who we are.
Yes.
So
Yeah, so for me, I think it was the time when I said I spoke up for the first time and I reached out. And I think that was the biggest changing moment for me. And there was this one time, like I think towards the month of December, when you start applying for jobs, or a little earlier, obviously, but that was the time when I was facing all these rejections, where I had to pick myself up. I think that was one time when I realized that, oh, I'm not good enough. And I started making myself okay with it, thinking, you know what, I'll just go back to my home country and I'll figure something out. We'll think about the loans and everything. Obviously, I couldn't speak to my parents about it because I didn't want to give them that pressure of loan or any other burden, any mental burden that I was facing. But then, like I said, when I spoke about this with my family, with my friends, just in general about it, I realized that it's not the end of the world that I'm getting all these rejections. And I think that shift in mindset, like both of you mentioned earlier, really helped me then understand that, oh no, I just need to toughen up, keep doing what I'm doing, and just maybe add a bit more effort to it. And yeah, I think that was one point. And the second point was when I spoke for the first time.
One thing I will say, sometimes we talk about this toughen up in a very in a way that, just keep brushing things away, keep going. My genuine thing is find support structure around you. It can be a very lonely place. There are days when you will feel nothing's going my way and you come to the breaking point. You need the support structure around you. You need to talk to somebody, whether that's your parents, whether your friends or people who are studying with, who understands. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. And it's very important. So please do reach out to somebody if you need help, if you're feeling overwhelmed, because being in the room, applying for the jobs, keep looking at the screen, pressing F5 refresh is not going to help. You have to get out of it. Okay, so I think we're going to get some questions from the chat. So what is your advice to someone preparing for an interview at Deloitte UK, something that is not out there on the internet? You want to go first?
Sure. I had a very interesting interview. I mean, I had a very interesting couple of interviews actually. So, what I would highly recommend is, so obviously you're going to have multiple rounds of interviews, and the first thing you need to know is make an impression in every round because it does matter. And when you're preparing for the interview, just ensure that you, I want to say by heart the job description, but that would be pushing it too far. But ensure you know what the job is and you're prepared to. It's okay if you don't know it entirely, but know at least 80% of what the job description is. And even if you have doubts, make sure you ask those doubts just to show that you're curious about the role, right? It's not just about, does this job description fit me? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I just match 10%. I just match 70%. It's not about that. It's about your curiosity. Because I remember I had an opportunity for a data analyst role, and I didn't turn it down. I wanted to go for it. It had maybe point 0.5 cyber related work in it, but I still wanted to go for it because I knew that I'm going to get something out of this. And that curiosity itself got me to talk to the hiring manager at least 3 times. And well, the conversation is a whole different topic, but I feel like don't turn down something just because you think you don't fit. Make yourself fit for that role. And it is possible within the time period you get to prepare. Okay. You may not be able to prepare 100%, but you can get to a point where you're confident enough to be able to say, see, I've done the self-learning till here. And I can assure you that if I do get the role, I will learn on my own if that is what it comes down to. So that kind of confidence is what made a difference to me. And if you have the opportunity for a face-to-face interview, go for it. Absolutely go for it, because my final round was face-to-face, and I feel that's where I made the difference, because I connected not just at an interviewee level. It was more of a human to human connection and actually telling them, listen, this is my situation and I have given you my sales pitch. And I feel like from your reaction, I can understand that maybe I am a good fit. But even if I'm not, can you please at least give me the feedback that I require to go for my next round or for my next interview, right? So that's the kind of approach you should have for an interview. Look at it as an opportunity to get your next interview, and not just, obviously you should land that role, but it should teach you something if you don't land that role. That's
Good.
my interview. I mean, advice.
For me, I think the one thing that I followed was researching the interviewer. You really need to know who the person is who you're speaking with, what that person has done,
Yep.
what's his or her background, what's his role, because everybody likes to talk about themselves. So when you give an interviewer that opportunity to talk about all the good things that they have done, they feel proud about it. And then you leave a mark that, okay, this person was really interested in listening to what I have done. Because in the end, when you work with that person, he or she is the only one you're learning from. So you really need to know where they are coming from and what they are doing. So that is something that I did. I really researched the interviewer and their experience. You get it all on LinkedIn. So if you just go and see what they have done throughout, you can just frame so many questions around their experience, like how did you do this or that. So that is one advice from me. And another advice, I don't have any Deloitte UK specific advice, but of course I can just explain how it works for experience role. I sat for 2 rounds of interview. The first round is always with the hiring manager and probably somebody else with that person, and then the second round is either with the team lead, or with
A technical SME.
an SME. So the first round is always the technical round. And the second round is more like, for me, it was more like a behavioral.
I always think of it like there's it's a business chemistry, I call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is very much about how you fit into the organization culture, the team culture, and everything
That's
else, but it's a good fit.
Yeah. So Keertan and Jay already covered everything, but there's one thing that I think I followed, and recently I spoke to one of the leaders in my team, and he mentioned it too, surprisingly, which is and this is specific to, I think, Deloitte UK, and I think it would apply anywhere else, is you have to be absolutely honest when you're answering questions, because there's a tendency, because job market is so competitive, we try to, sometimes, we don't do it on purpose, but sometimes we tend to say things that we may not have done exactly what we are talking about. And, we are talking to really experienced people, and they understand when you're trying to, make stuff up. So I think one thing that really helped me in this interview, and also I think something that you should follow, not just Deloitte UK, but everywhere, I think, is be honest when you're talking to the interviewer. In addition to obviously talking about what they have done, their achievements and everything, when you speak about yourself, try to be as honest as you can. And like Keertana said, make sure that you also tell them how passionate you are about that role, because I feel technical skills, soft skills, technical skills, to some point can also be taught, but making stuff up might not help you in the long run in a job. So
I always
think-
say I don't hire for skills, I hire for behaviors. Because behaviors can't be taught, but at the same time,
Add something, Jit. Something that just came to my mind is, so if I were to apply for, or if I have an interview for an AI role right now, because my dissertation was AI based, I would ask the interviewer, can you give me 5 minutes? I want to show you what I've done. And that 5 minutes may be your breaking point. So it's that extra step you take in the interview also to show your interest in the topic or in the role. So don't just go take every interview as, like, don't treat it all the same. Yeah.
Okay, Shivani, this question is for you specifically. What would you suggest someone wanting to get into red teaming?
I would say don't just do certifications for the sake of it. Actually, try to see what those certifications are adding to your value. For example, we hear a lot that OSCP is a good certification or stuff like that, but OSCP is also a very expensive certification. So to someone who wants to get into red teaming, I would say start slow and make sure that the skills that you're gaining are actually applicable to red team. And when I say this, red team is a huge topic. So this is something that I have spoken with my other peers who are into red teaming, and they always say this to me, and this is something that now I also agree, is you can't know everything in red teaming. Pick up something that you are passionate about. You might like Windows. I personally like a bit of Linux. So I tend to lean towards Linux a bit more. If you're a Windows person, go for that. So when it comes to red teaming, try to find your own favorite topic, I would say, and then work hard on it. And then you should be golden.
And the question is around, this person doesn't like coding. Actually, you don't need to know, you don't need to know coding to that extent, because within red teaming, there's different aspects. There are tools, there are exploits available, different things that you can use. So I don't think not knowing coding is going to stop you.
No, definitely. I am not a coder. So I don't have a proficient hold over any coding scripting language, but it's like that. You have to rise to a challenge. If you see something, let's say if you have a source code review assignment, don't try not to turn away from it. Try to study from it and understand it. But yeah, you don't have to be a pro coder, like Jit also mentioned. Yeah.
So we're going to keep going with the questions, but can you please give reactions, thumbs up, whatever, saying, is this helping you something, or put something in the chat if you want us to touch upon any of the topics. So have certifications played a role in getting the job, especially for non-technical cyber roles like GRC or project management? So anybody wants to pick it up? Certification.
Certifications.
Have certification played a role in getting the job, especially for non-technical cyber roles like GRC or project management? So you're doing in GRC.
Yeah.
Do you think
You can pick
certification?
I don't really agree with that doing certifications would help, because I did not do a lot of certifications before landing this role. But I think having that foundational knowledge of what is risk, what is threat, what is vulnerability, and trying to convey that in very simple terms and not overcomplicating it during your interview really helps.
Yeah.
Making a very simple example always helps, and interviews always like examples.
Yeah.
So certifications are to me like badges which can be attained when you have more experience, like CISA or CIRIS. There are so many other certifications out in the market, but for these certifications also you need to have certain amount of experience to be able to have that properly. So I think masters in cybersecurity is in itself a very big certificate that you hold, that you know and you understand risk, you understand technical stuff, and if you've passed and if you've scored well, that means that you have that certificate.
Exactly.
So I don't really think I would suggest anybody to go that far and do extra certifications.
I see some CVs where somebody has got 10 certifications. I'll be very honest with you. What that tells me is you're very good at reading and passing exam.
I agree.
Right? So I'll give you an example. So this thing is very important. So you were talking about researching on LinkedIn and applying online and everything else. When I started my career, I remember market was bad, jobs were not there. So that time an online application wasn't there again in India. So I used to have a backpack with printed CVs, and I will go to the door to door to the office in the IT area, and there's a big box which says CVs. You put your CV into that, and then you wait. And you wait. There were no mobile phones that time. You will actually wait for the call to come along, and emails were also kind of very expensive thing that time. But you will wait for that, and I can tell you the backpack was heavy with 1,000 CVs I would have done, right? And gone on those places. And you couldn't even research the interviewer. You couldn't know who you're going to meet and everything else. You guys have got some access to some amazing tools. I will tell you, recently I have been mentoring a student. And when I was speaking to that person, I said, we have a chat GPT now.
Yeah.
You didn't have it. So you don't need a job to actually do a work experience. So that person wants to pursue career in GRC. We said, why don't you actually do a project on a problem that a CISO face as a consultant, and then talk about that in your interview when you get a chance? Because when you will do that, and now you have access to these tools and everything else, you're really creating, and then you can actually, when you have solved that problem, you can actually write about it.
Yes.
And now then you're not writing to one CISO, you're writing to many CISOs who might read it, to saying this is a real world problem that we face, and this person has actually thought about it, done a research, and come up with a solution, and now presenting the solution like a consultant. And that could go a long way. So I think, so instead of certification, invest your time and effort in doing something like that, resolving real world problems, that will help. Okay, what should be an adequate elevator pitch be like? Now, that's a very good question. I personally think elevator pitch, I think elevator pitch is a very unique thing to you, because from my view is elevator pitches talks about you.
Yeah.
And similarly, when you have, like I said in the CV, the first half is what I call golden real estate, because somebody will only scroll down if they really like it. So in that space, it's like, even if you're not there, it has to talk about you. So Ria's elevator pitch will be very different than Keetana, than Shivani, than mine.
Yep.
So this really speaks to you. Like you said, I saw passion in you when you talked about Red Team. So and I asked why, and I'm always looking for why, in the sense why you are passionate about this. So an adequate elevator pitch should show your personality, should explain why you're passionate about it, and it can't be 5 minutes. I always say you can have a 5 minute version, because if you have a 5 minute version, then it brings a lot of clarity in your mind when you write it on a piece of paper and you rehearse it. But you need to have 1/22 version of it. So, what is the scope and market for non-tech cyber roles in the UK like with a few years of experience? I will take this question again because I'm the hiring manager, so I hire people. So I think there is plenty, because you don't need all the technical people. GRC area, I think where if you don't have a lot of technical background, do you?
No.
So I think people think cyber as a very technical area. There are a lot of areas in GRC. There is an executive governance. There is a cyber culture side of it. There's so many different domains are there where you do not need a very deep technical knowledge. But again, I always tell people, if you get a chance, which I'm going to tell you also at some point to spend time, is when you join the organization, you're not in a non-technical role, go and spend time with some security operations team. Just to shadow them, because I think it opens up your mind. It gives you a bit more context. So always be curious and spend time with the other areas to understand what do they do. I think this is what questions came. If anybody has any questions, please keep it coming, and we're going to wrap it up very soon. Otherwise, so I think we have gone through everything now, in a way, most of it. Now, let's just do some closing here. This is an interesting thing. What's that one thing you wish someone told you before you made the leap to actually apply, pay the fee, take a flight to come and study in UK? So what would that one thing you think, or you would tell somebody?
I think I can go first.
Yeah.
That one thing is, please, this is my request to everybody who is coming to UK and is watching this. Please make sure that you have enough experience, 3 years at least, before you take this decision. Because trust me, it was not easy. You guys might be seeing I'm sitting here, but it was not easy if you ask me and whenever I look back. So thinking if I have 1 year of experience or no experience at all, some people can get lucky. But it's a very risky game to play, to put so much of your money, parents' money, bank loan, anything at stake, and coming here and thinking you will land a job, because not everyone does. So make sure that you have enough experience, enough relevant experience, or technical experience, non-technical experience, but experience before you come here and you decide to pay that fee. So that is my advice.
Anything different? Same.
I would say maybe learn how to be your own cheerleader. Like, you should have a really healthy mental state to come here, because I wish someone told me that, Kirtana, be ready for multiple rounds of breakdowns, and while doing 2 part-times, while managing your dissertation, while attending classes. So it's a lot. It's not easy to pick yourself up every time, and you will need people to help you sometimes, because you're not always going to be able to do that. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Just reach out. Just talk to anybody about it. So I would say maintaining a healthy mental state is something you need to prioritize before you come here.
So one thing that I think I would have loved hearing is a reality check on the job market, which it's a good job market. You can come, there's a lot of potential for you to get jobs and everything, but like Riya said, you need experience. And like you heard from me and Keithan as well, in spite of having 3 years of experience, we still faced rejections. So I think a reality check on how the job market works and understand it, realize that although there's graduate positions, there's also a lot of conditions connected to it, like security clearances, for example. That is something that I had no idea. You need to have a security clearance, and that means you have to be in the UK for at least 5 years. So there's no way you're going to get that. So I think that is one important thing that I feel if I had known, I wouldn't have changed my decision of coming to the UK. I would have just been better prepared. So yeah.
Okay. There are a few more things in the chat. I'll talk about this. I think there maybe people have put questions also in the chat. So, but closing comment. Anything else you would like to say to the people who are listening, either live or in the recording?
Yeah, I would want to say don't just focus on big companies. In UK, there are so many other small companies that also have good roles and good places from where you can start. There, UK has a lot of companies other than the big fours and the big names. There are other uh, companies as well. And since I moved to Europe, I have so much confidence now that there are roles all across Europe. So I would definitely recommend people watching this to also look at roles across Europe and UK and not just stay focused on UK because here it might just be a little hard. And to end this from my end, I would say don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this because you really can. If you think of it that you want to, you will. So wherever there is a will, there is a way. You need to be strong headed, and finding a job should run in your blood, in your veins, in your brain, in your food, and everything that you do. But that should just be your aim. That was my mantra when I was a student. But yeah, we can hear different versions.
That's why I call her Fire. Well said. Go on.
I think what I would say is just one thing: be kind to yourself, and everything in your time. Just give it time, right? So time can heal and can do miracles, and it has proven to be so in all three of our cases. And just be there for yourself, even if nobody else is there for you. And if you find yourself questioning or doubting yourself, just be in that moment. That is very important to kind of fuel you. But the next immediate thought has to be, that's not right. I am here to do a certain thing that I believe I can do, and I will do it. And I don't care how I'm going to do it. I don't know who I'm going to meet, but you will meet someone. You will be able to do it at the end of the day. So believe in yourself and everything in your time.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of them. I'll just add one small thing is you're going to listen to a lot of people because you're nervous, obviously, about the decisions that you're taking. You're always going to question about it. And there'll be a lot of people very close to you as well telling you, oh, maybe you're not doing the right thing. Just stay back, enjoy your comfortable life in your home country, wherever you're from. But at the end of the day, listen to everyone, but try to do what feels right to you because you know yourself better than anyone. So doesn't matter what anyone else says to you. If you think it's the right thing to do, just get on with it. And then if anything wrong happens, like Kirtana said, just trust in yourself. Take a step back, believe that you can do it, and then move ahead. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so one last question here, and then we will close it up. What is the best time to apply since we are still doing our dissertation? You can apply right now, can't you?
They should have. I mean, yeah, they can obviously start applying.
Yeah.
No.
I think
For experienced
yeah.
role, you can, graduate roles, I believe, would have opened up again.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
but
It's
that will
opened
be-
up again.
It will open
in
up again for the
September.
next September
Yes.
intake.
Yes.
Next September intake. But with experienced role, usually 3 months before the role starts is what they look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But considering the number of rejections we will be facing, I would say right away
Yeah, right.
for the experience.
Exactly.
Don't waste a minute.
Yeah.
If you see a job, apply for it.
And that's the point. Sometimes if you get an interview, you get a rejection, that's an experience.
Exactly.
Getting and learn from that experience. Anyway, so thank you, Riya, Kirtana, and Shivani, for being vulnerable, for not just being here. I'm sure people who heard it helped them. Come on, give some reactions to this, for these ladies who have been putting themselves out there. And to everyone listening, I know sometimes it's a struggle. You're not alone. It's hard, but there's a path forward. The reason we wanted to do this because I get approached by a lot of international students who are struggling, or even local students who are struggling, not getting a job because market is tough. See, the whole intent here to do this is so that you have got a lot more information to make an informed decision. Because path might be difficult, path might be hard, but as long as you have patience, you persevere, you keep the positive outlook, and you ask for help when you need it, things will work out. But approach it with the right mindset. And there are days when it'll get harder. There are days when you will feel nothing is going my way, and you may get to the breaking point. Do not sit alone in that room in front of the computer. Ask for help, pick up a phone, speak to somebody, because that's the way to keep going. And also remember, connect with these amazing ladies on the LinkedIn. And one commitment they have given me, I have always said, if one thing I want from you is pay it forward.
Yep.
Don't forget you were in this position, so help others when you can help. And I'm sure at some point they will become CISOs. I keep saying at some point when you do that, make sure that you do not forget that there are graduates even that time who would need some help and support to do that. And thank you all for joining today. And please keep these stories coming. And then if you would like to reach out to me also, please reach out. But again, one thing I can't provide is one-to-one mentoring to everybody. I do my best to do as much as I can. But there are a lot of other leaders who inspire you. If you follow their work, you think they're great and you like what they say, please reach out to them. Because as I said, if you don't reach out to them, you will never connect. But if you reach out to them, you never know what may happen. It's just required one conversation. All the best.
All the best.
All the best, guys.
See you guys.